The first time in over a decade we have a last race decider in World SBK. The 36th and last race of the 2025 season is underway. Not a good start from Andrea Iannone. He comes under pressure from Xavi Vierge around the outside at turn one. Alvaro Bautista launches a move on Nicolo Bulliga to hit the front, and Bulliga's pushed back behind Xavi Vierge. So much for the Ducati family, as Toprak Razgatlioglu immediately makes two places. He's already through on Remy Gardner as well as Michael van der Mark, but Nicolo Bulliga, the man who needs to win this race, is down in third at present.
A lot of riders are going to lean on Bulliga in these early stages as well.
They'll know that he's a little bit vulnerable, but he is also the fastest man out there, undoubtedly, at the Ángel Nieto circuit this weekend. On to the back straight then, Alvaro Bautista leading the way ahead of Xavi Vierge and Nicolo Bulliga, and all of the action going on behind them as well, as Bulliga thunders down the inside into turn 6 and snaps away now from Xavi Vierge up into second position for Bulliga.
Yeah, good move from Bulliga through 6. It was a good start from Xavi Vierge from the second row of the grid to give himself that chance. Iannone from the front row down into P6. Bit of work to be done for him.
Toprak Razgatlioglu will want to make his way through, but will also want to make his way through safely as Alvaro Bautista turns across the path of Nicolo Bulliga into turn 9.
The first 7 laps yesterday, Alvaro really struggled with the full fuel load, and for Bulliga, first time all the way through this weekend, he's really had to come through on someone in the latter stages of the opening lap, so we'll see if he's able to do that now into the final corner.
First opportunity at the end of lap number 1 for Nicolo Bulliga to get back into the race lead, but Alvaro Bautista has the position. You'd anticipate he should be strong enough towards turn 1 as well. A little bit of lift off that final turn as Toprak Razgatlioglu now eyes up Taz McKenzie. This will be for 7th position, but Razgatlioglu not quite with his usual dash on the opening lap, and you do rather anticipate a little bit of caution here for Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, good clean move there on McKenzie into turn 1. Iannone is next to him. He'll try and make them simple moves all the way through. And for Bautista, obviously, he's lost his ride with the factory Ducati team for next year. He wants to sign off with a race win, and that's why he wants to get to the front of Bulliga.
Turn 5 is where Nicolo Bulliga made his pass for the Superpole race win a year ago, where he collided with Toprak Razgatlioglu in the Superpole race earlier on today. He couldn't get through on the inside of Alvaro Bautista there, but he is going to have the opportunity in towards turn 6. Bautista on the standard racing line, and Nicolo Bulliga sweeps through. Bautista looking for the cutback, goes side by side again. Of course, there's still a race victory up for grabs in this race, and Alvaro Bautista hasn't had one in 2025. Important pass from Toprak Razgatlioglu. He's through on Andrea Iannone, and that's one of the riders he'll have been most keen to clear.
Yeah, Bautista knows that there is that chance to win this race as well, because even though Bulliga needs the win to have a chance at the championship, he also needs Toprak out of those points paying positions, so it's about having that opportunity. This is the move from Razgatlioglu, nice and clean on Iannone. None of the spectacular Razgatlioglu style on his moves on this lap into turn 1 and into turn 6, but he's able to make good clean moves.
And Taz McKenzie up ahead of Andrea Iannone as well, so capitalising on Razgatlioglu's pass, Taz McKenzie into another 7th position. What a great weekend he is having to finish his 2025 campaign with Bonovo. Onto the start-finish straight now to begin lap number 3, and this is where Nicolo Bulliga begins to escape away. New fastest 3rd sector of anyone, new fastest 4th sector of anyone around. 0.2 of a second faster in sector 4, 0.3 of a second faster than Alvaro Bautista in sector 3. So the gap already 0.7 of a second, and now we settle in for a race for second place.
Yeah, and that race for second place, Xavi Vierge knows in this first third of the race, that's when Bautista's vulnerable, that's when you need to be able to attack. You can see for Razgatlioglu here behind Locatelli, and Alex Lowe's just trying to give himself a chance. He'll try and make the move on Lowe's into 6. And we'll see if he can do that again.
As far as Andrea Locatelli is concerned, he needs to be up in the top 2 positions to have a hope of claiming 3rd in the World Championship, and even then would be relying on it all going wrong for Alvaro Bautista, who at the moment is 2 places ahead of him. Bulliga leads a second now, that advantage over this group of riders. Bautista, Vierge, Locatelli, Alex Lowe's and Toprak Razgatlioglu at the back of a group of 5 riders chasing the podium places.
Yeah, Toprak into 6, we could see he was nice and smooth on the brakes, just trying to give himself where you're not going to have any big moments, and ultimately that's not how Toprak usually rides, so you're that bit below your limit, and that's where it's actually easier to make mistakes just because you're not hitting your normal markers. So for Toprak, his goal is to clear everyone in this group, put himself into second spot, and then be able just to consolidate his pace and follow Bulliga home.
Been a sensible approach to this race so far, hasn't it, from Toprak Razgatlioglu?
He was sensible in the last few rounds when he knew he couldn't win those races. He settled for the points he needed, and again you can see here into the last corner he's not putting himself in a position to make that move as well. Lowe's able to hold on to P5, but Toprak will see into turn 1 if he can make the move.
Into turn 1 on lap number 4. Opportunity for Toprak Razgatlioglu to move past Alex Lowe's. He wasn't quite alongside into the final turn of lap 3, but he is now through and up into 5th place. Every move he makes is one less he's got to get some clear air in front of him.
You could see there from Lowe's though as well, he's not just ceding the position to a championship contender. You're having to earn it. When you're into those leading positions, you do have to come through.
Particularly because these riders have an opportunity to be on the podium this afternoon, and everything that entails as well. Alvaro Bautista at the moment in 2nd place, ahead of Andrea Locatelli and Xavi Vierque. They're pretty much nose to tail as they come through the blind exit of turn number 5 and drop down the hill towards turn 6. Vierque right with Andrea Locatelli, and this, remember, is for a provisional place on the podium, and Vierque back in front of Locatelli now for 3rd position.
Yeah, good move from Xavi, and he's had a really good weekend up there in the top 5 all the way through, and he's riding that really well, and obviously they'll be teammates next year as well, so he wants to go into the Tuesday test with a little bit of an edge over his new teammate.
Locatelli, though, looking noticeably better than he has done earlier on in the weekend, where he's only managed a 7th and a 6th place finish as he recovers against Xavi Vierque, puts a bike between himself and Toprak Razgatlioglu, and can now start to think about Alvaro Bautista. But the scrapping for 3rd between Locatelli and Vierque has enabled Bautista to open an 0.8 of a second gap to a train of 3 riders now behind him. Alex Lowe's becoming a little bit detached behind.
Yeah, you can see for Toprak through those fast rights at the end of the lap as well. Got close to Vierge, but he doesn't want to put himself into a risky position. Bit of a moment there for Bautista over the curbs on the exit of the last corner.
And for Razgatlioglu in P5 as he lines up Xavi Vierque on the brakes. So many moves for Toprak can be made into turn 1 because he's so strong on the brakes, but on this occasion he thinks better of it, tucks in behind Xavi Vierque. Toprak still in P5.
Discretion's the best form of valor right now for Toprak, and it's about trying to get the championship one. Obviously for Bulaga out in front, 2.5 seconds clear of Bautista. That's a race win in the bag for Bulaga as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. And for Toprak, that means just consolidate where you are, pick the riders off when the opportunities present themselves, and stay out of trouble.
Interesting thing will be, what is Toprak's approach once he gets clear of Locatelli and has a gap to Alvaro Bautista? Does he just settle in and take a podium place, or does he try and get himself into 2nd position? That's where the bigger risk is, of course. Bautista, teammate to Nicolo Bulaga, as Xavi Vierque fends off Toprak Razgatlioglu once again for 4th position.
Yeah, Bautista's obviously the teammate to Bulaga, but we saw into the first corner, he's not too bothered about that role, and obviously he's not a teammate to him next year. He's already lost his ride for next year, so he's trying to sign off on his Aruba Ducati career with the best result possible for him. If Toprak clears this group, you'd imagine he just settles into a rhythm and just gives himself the chance of being up on the podium positions.
Andrea Locatelli pulling back a 1/10 of a second there in that 3rd sector compared to Alvaro Bautista. Gap, though, is still 7/10 of a second between them for 2nd and 3rd. Razgatlioglu again with the momentum through those 4 consecutive right-handers, but he's not quite close enough, and Xavi Vierque has gone fairly defensive into the final turn of lap number 4. Razgatlioglu wants to make his way through, but he wants to make his way through safely, and that's why we're not seeing him carve up the opposition as we have done so many times through his years in World SBK. Now he's brave enough to make the pass into turn 1, start of lap 6. Another move made from 10th on the grid. Razgatlioglu now in P4.
And this is where you really see how much of a margin Toprak has had at times over the 2nd group through the course of this season. That's why he won so many races mid-year. He's just basically just cruising around right now, it looks like, compared to his normal all-action style. That's the difference between being at 99% and being at 100%, but for Razgatlioglu, it's exactly what he has to do.
So, next up is Andrea Locatelli, former teammates, of course, with Pata Yamaha. Locatelli staying on as Razgatlioglu moved away to BMW. The gap just 0.2 of a second there for a place on the podium for Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, Locatelli, one of the riders that Toprak criticised last time out in Estoril for riding a little bit too aggressively against him as well. So now he has to try and come through on him.
And this deep into the race, it's not going to be quite as cutthroat, you would anticipate, when it happens for Razgatlioglu. He should have the pace advantage to go away from Locatelli and put himself beyond his reach.
Yeah, he definitely has that pace advantage. It's just about being able to use it and being willing to use it at this stage. We saw how patient he was with Alex Lowe's and then Xavi Vierge in particular. At least for Razgatlioglu, he's raced a lot with Locatelli. He knows what to expect from Loca.
Yes, as we see Alvaro Bautista just at the front of the picture, just managing his advantage at this stage of the race. And once we get past lap 10, Bautista should have the measure of Locatelli if he's still in front of him. So Locatelli's best opportunity to beat Bautista in this race, to put him under some pressure in a head-to-head, thinking about third overall. That opportunity is slipping away the longer Bautista rides within his comfort zone.